Hatching eggs, doing IV breeding, it is the best way to get powerful members for your team. But hatching eggs is a literal nightmare, especially when you do as much shiny hunting, shiny hatching as we do. So in this guide, we're going to talk about the fastest way to hatch eggs so you can save time and get shinies faster. Welcome back to an all-new video. My name is Trainer Toll. We do stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully see you there. We stream pretty late. It's a lot of fun. We're going to dive in and work on breeding Grookey today. I'm going to do the whole process with you. I'm not going to jump around so that you're left hanging. The most important thing that you want to try to get something good, get shinies, get Gigantamax, find those raids that they're doing. You can find 6IV Ditto reset raids where people know what the IVs are and they're resetting them. Just live in like our Discord and the Cerebi Discord, both very, very important. Just Google Cerebi Discord because my link keeps expiring, so do it that way. But this is my Adamant 6IV Ditto from Japan. I understand not everybody has one of these, but this is my Adamant 6IV Ditto from Japan. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna breed this one with my 5IV Grookey, all right? And this is from an earlier breeding attempt, but I never did get a shiny for the Grookey. So what we're gonna start out with is we're gonna go into the daycare lady. We're gonna say, I'd like to leave Pokemon behind, and we're gonna leave the Grookey, and we're gonna leave the Ditto. Now, I already have my shiny charm, and I already have my Opal charm, Opal charm. So our hatch rate is going to be pretty good because we are leaving a foreign Ditto, a foreign parent in. It doesn't have to be a Ditto, but just a foreign parent in the breeding daycare center. We're able to get a 1 in 682 exactly chance to get a shiny versus our normal shiny rate, which is like 1 in 4,000. So using a foreign parent, and when the game first came out, I was gradually like improving my foreign Pokemon collection, and I had a whole box that was like, if I had a 1 IV Rookidee that I got that it was from Japan or from where anywhere that's not your native language, I would put it in a box and I'd hold on to it. So very, very important to build that foreign collection so that as you're breeding, you have the best. Sometimes your IVs aren't going to be great. You have to constantly be replacing, one of the parents. But ideally, get that foreign parent to have the best IVs as possible, because as you breed replacements, you can't swap that one out. All right, so everybody's in the daycare. We have no eggs right now, right? We're completely starting this process from scratch, and this is where the speed process comes in. So let's see, I've got these boxes that I finally made some space in the bank. All right, and so we're just gonna hang out. I know that the preference is to go down on the bridge really far to get the maximum steps in to get the eggs produced, but we're gonna do it right here in front of the daycare center because we have no eggs. All right, so we got our first egg. We'll go and we'll pick it up. And this is what most people do, and this is the mistake that I was making for a very long time. I think I actually make this mistake. It's not a mistake so much, it's just a slower process. But so we get our first egg, and it goes into our party, right? And so now, as I am, doing the rounds to get my second egg, I'm hatching that egg. I have my special hatching friend, my Lampent, in there, and it has that flame body effect. There's several abilities, steam engine, magma armor, and whatnot, but I like the Litwick family from the olden days. So, but in this case, we're getting eggs in a staggered fashion, and I feel like that's what most people do, is collecting those eggs in a staggered fashion. And so, we're trying to maximize. As soon as an egg is ready, we want to grab it because we want to have more eggs than we can hatch at a given time. And she probably thinks that we are completely crazy doing circles in front of her as opposed to just riding back and forth on her bridge. So now we're up to 3 eggs. And we're just making loops. loops right in front of her. keeping an eye on her because I want to know as soon as she puts her arms close to her chest that she's holding an egg. Then I go up and grab it. And the thing about this is that I know a lot of people will do breeding casually, where they grab an egg when their egg is up and they hatch it when they hatch it, and they don't carry more than 5 eggs. So up to 4 now. But the idea here, saying we're already hatching our first groupie, but we're going to hatch these in a staggered fashion because of the way that they're coming in. And that's not what we want to do. We want to catch these. We want to make sure that we have 5 eggs and we put them in our party all at the same time so that they all hatch at the same time. All right, so here we go again. And now our party is full. Yes, one of our eggs has hatched, but now every future egg is going to go straight into the bank so that we can work on our fast hatching method. So you see, as things are hatching, we're not. It's slowing us down, right? So the hatch animation is happening whenever it happens, as opposed to happening all at once, which means we're also grabbing eggs in one at a time, and we're in our menu a lot more. And the overall idea here is to not spend so much time in your menu. Now that we're starting to get eggs that are going to the box, one of the things that I highly recommend is don't let it give you a choice to send it to the box, because then that's one more dialogue that's popping up. I highly recommend you turn off manual box choices and have everything. Once your party's full, it's just going to send everything to a box, which is pretty much what you want anyway. But so now we've got our first egg in the box, but we're still going to try to get as many eggs as we can. And this is the slow part. You have to kind of seed your boxes with eggs, but we don't want to take any eggs out of the bank after this first set, because we're going to keep hatching these initial groupies. But we don't want to take anything out of the bank until we're able to take 5 all at once. And then I'll show you where the real kind of penny pinching time saving comes into play. All right, and now I think that puts us up to 5 eggs in the bank, and I'll show you part of the problem here. Now that there are eggs in the bank, there's 5 eggs in the bank. What you don't want is to have you have to grab each one of these eggs and move it to the party individually. And so you want to really fill up this bank box so that you're able to grab, using that multi-select, all the way down, grab that whole row of 5 and move it over into your party. But we can't do that because we don't have enough eggs. So we've got 2 more eggs that we're going to want to hatch here. And so what I start to do is kind of grab the stack, and I'll start to kind of seed. You try to do it in as few steps as possible, because again, you're going to be doing this a lot. But the goal is to stay out of the menu. The goal is to be, have 5 eggs, doing them in a loop, and repeating that cycle, so that you are being really efficient with your time. Because again, it took us probably 1,000 to 1,500 eggs to hatch that shiny drapey. It can be, even though it's 682 odds, that's by no means a guarantee, using the Masuda method, that's what is going to happen. So So now we've hatched all of these Grookey, and we're going to look at how they came out. So this is a 5IV Grookey, but it's wrong. And it's almost perfect, because Fantastic is really good. But to me, when I'm IV breeding just a ton, I only hold on to the 5IV, what we call poppers, right? They're practically perfect in every way, named after Mary Poppins. Let's see. Okay, so that would be a good example. Oh, no, speed is decent. Yeah, so that one's no good. One of the parents is a Okay, there we go. There's our first popper right off the first batch of eggs. So then I kind of just put it over side, but it's very important. We want the eggs to stack. They're gonna come in right to left, or left to right up there. So that very top row is very important to our organization. So anything that we get that we want to keep, we're gonna put off here to the side. And then we're just gonna grab all 5 of these eggs. And we're gonna put them in our party at the same time. So now every single one of those eggs has 0 steps, right? So that when they hatch, they're gonna hatch all at once. So then as I'm sitting here spinning around, I'm able to focus on adding more eggs to the box, and I'm not checking every Grookey as it hatches. I'm only checking the Grookeys 5 at a time. I'm only I'm only going into the menus when it's time to change a step, right? So here, I just talked to her. We've disabled that dialogue so it doesn't ask where we want the egg to go. The egg can only go into that active box because that's where we were looking last. And so we're just hanging out here and collecting as many eggs as we can. And, breeding Pokemon is not for everyone. I was watching a streamer friend of mine who was just saying that, shiny hunting is so boring. And he's right. It's the min-maxer in me that wants to have, a really strong Pokemon of each type so that I can participate in raids. And when you're doing raids with your buddies and they're all min-maxers too, then you're wanting to have shinies. So Laurel was telling me, we have shiny Sobble, we have shiny Scorbunny, but we don't have shiny Grookey, so we really should finish the set. So right, it's the completionist in us that's like, hey, what could we be doing right now? What should we be collecting? And I really like to make, you breed, you try to get the best move sets, you get the egg moves in there. If you don't get the IVs you want on your shiny, then you hyper train them. But when a Pokemon is done and it settles in at level 100 and it's completely maxed out and the EVs are done, that's the goal. So now this batch of Grookey is hatching. And what is that going to look like, now that they're all hatching at the same time? It's kind of neat. So as soon as you get out of the hatch dialogue, nothing happens. You move an inch and the next egg hatches. And get used to that disappointment, right? We just hatched 5 Grookeys, none of them were shiny, and now all at once we're able to see, okay, so that's another popper right there. 5 IVs, but only the special attack is weak. That's not a keeper. I don't look at them all and then release them. I look at them as I release them, just because again, it's just we want to be in. Oh wow, this is a good batch. So that's 5. And then what I do with these that are poppers now, because we're hatching so many, I give these Pokeris, and then these are the ones that we'll trade with people on Twitch. Now we're hatching them so fast that it is requiring us to do some shenanigans there, but the idea is that our first egg is going to land here, so we know it's going to kind of fill in this box. So then as I look at the menu, I'll bring a couple down here at a time, so then that way eventually if we've collected enough eggs, then I've got them all ready to go and I can just grab the row without having to spend a bunch of time in the menus. But we've already hatched 10 Grookey, and we haven't been going that long. Okay, little bike, you're going all over the place. And some people will say that you want to not take your first 5 Grookey out of the party until you've got 15 or 20 eggs in the bank. And there may be some wisdom to that, because all this time that I'm having to rearrange eggs rather than grabbing 5 all at once in one grab. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a way to dump things into your party if they're in a straight line. They have to be on an up and down line. So it's not a viable box that you can drop things to. And eventually you'll get to a point where your box is nice and full, and then it's an easy matter of just grabbing those 5 eggs. I'm going to fast forward here until we are ahead of the curve, just so you guys don't have to watch that entire process, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. All right, so now we're going to pick up another egg. We've got quite a few eggs in the bank. I just hatched a round of Grookey, so my box is ready. So there's, what is this, 16, 17 eggs. So the idea here is that as we know that eggs are going to come in on this top line, right? So we'll even clear that top line and we'll move things towards the bottom. But then as you see, as we do that, we're completing these stacks, right? So I'll put one on top to be able to grab 5. I'll check these Grookeys real quick. Not horrible, but not great. That one's only a 5 IV, or 4 IV, but not a bad selection. Nope, that one's not good. Doesn't look like there's any poppers in this set. So then again, we go to that multi-select, we grab all 5 at once, and we drop them into the party. The goal here is to spend as little time in the menus as possible. We're not checking IVs constantly. We're not, we're only doing that in a wave. We're only hatching in a wave. We're only gathering eggs in a wave. Eventually you get to the point where you've gathered enough eggs that you can go back to just riding your loops on the bridge like normal. Or if you do the daycare center in the wilds, you can do them, do it whatever you want. But I'll show you all one last egg just to show what's probably obvious at this point. But so we'll grab this egg. And now if we look at the bank, which again is a waste of time, we should not be checking the bank out constantly, but so now I'm ready to go with a full row of 5. I just select it all like that and drag it into the party after I've cleared out that round of Grookey. So, let the box fill up so you're not spending a bunch of time playing Tetris with eggs, and that'll help you, spend more time riding around in circles and hatching eggs. If you found this video helpful, do hit that like and subscribe button. We are on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time until usually pretty late. This is an example of one of the giveaways we've been doing. This is our shiny Toxtricity. We've been doing a bunch of raids. We've got shiny Morpeko, shiny Pinchurin. We've got a lot of stuff. And so we've been raffling off things as we collect them in raids. We've got all sorts of 6 IV Dreepy that we're just giving away. Just pop in and say that you want one. I've got a bunch of leftover 6 IV Adelmais as well. A lot of really cool stuff to give away. And as always, we've got free Pokerus. We've got it on random stuff. We've got it on 5 IV starters. Some better than others, but no requirements. You don't have to follow. You don't have to subscribe. Just pop in, say hello, and we're happy to hook you up. Twitch.tv/TrainerToll. We'll see you next time.